Hello, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Crictime Podcast, and we've got both the brothers here today. Suyash, after a very long time, and Shivam coming back again for his second episode with us. Great to have you guys back. Let me start with Suyash. It's been a while since we've actually recorded anything. Suyash, how are you feeling? How's it been? How has the IPL season been so far for you?
Yeah, good IPL, refreshing to be honest. कुछ नया देखने को मिला T20 format, like the way as teams like SRH have evolved the game to a next level. 250 is now so much achievable. सपने भी नहीं सोचा था 2007 में जब T20 क्रिकेट आया था कि ऐसा हो सकता है, बट अभी कुछ भी पॉसिबल है. एंड what couldn't be a better time for the T20 World Cup to come up. And yeah, very excited. Yes, I was away for a while, busy with stuffs and things. So yeah, happy to be back. And yeah, Shivam was filling me in. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, no, he was doing a great job as well with his insights into cricket and then the IPL episode that we did. Shivam, welcome back. None of our teams have won the IPL. All three of us support RCB, but it's now time that we move our focus into the Indian cricket team in the World Cup. And before we get into that, how are you doing? How's it been so far for you?
I'm doing great, Mohammed. Thanks for having me back here. Nice to join you guys in this Crictime podcast. Yeah, IPL has ended and काफी रोलर कोस्टर राइड रही. पहले बहुत अच्छे मैचेस हो रहे थे बट फाइनल बहुत ही थोड़ा डल डल सा था, बहुत ही वन साइडेड था. आई होप कि वर्ल्ड कप ऐसा ना जाए. और अभी तो वर्ल्ड कप शुरू भी हुआ है एंड लास्ट नाइट वी नो क्या हुआ वेस्ट इंडीज और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के बीच में. सो expecting the same going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said that hopefully World Cup इतना बोरिंग ना जाए, बट अगर इंडिया का फाइनल मैच हो और ऐसा इंडिया जीते जिस तरह से कोलकाता जीती है, I'll take it. भाई मुझे ट्रॉफी चाहिए. जिस भी उससे आए. अगर वो 30 पे ऑस्ट्रेलिया को हॉल आउट कर दे और वो 30 2 ओवर में बना ले, इट्स फाइन. I'll take it. मुझे नहीं चाहिए 40 ओवर का फुल गेम on that day. Let's dive right into it. Today's topics, well, mainly just reviewing the groups, giving our predictions for who we think are going to be the top eight and then the top four, and eventually the winner as well of the tournament itself. There are a few certain teams who look very strong, and then obviously there are a lot of nation teams as well. Last time the T20 World Cup हुआ था उसमें 16 teams थी in total, which 8 were associate teams and 8 were actual association teams. And this time around there are a lot more associate teams, with Uganda, Papua New Guinea coming in as well, Nepal coming in, and then Netherlands as well, Scotland, Oman, Namibia, USA, Canada, Ireland. So good to see that cricket is expanding, but at the same time, it's one of those things where there's so many associate teams now that majority of the matches are going to be between them, and it just takes away from the big teams as well, which I guess is good for the sport as well to a certain degree. Let's dive right into that right away. Group A is India, Pakistan. Oh, what a surprise! And Ireland, USA, and Canada. All of them bunched up together. I think this is a very obvious one. I don't see it going anywhere else other than just India and Pakistan qualifying. Irrespective of what misery Pakistan has been doing with T20 cricket. अगर सनराइजर्स हम लोग को एक साइड ऑफ क्रिकेट दिखा रहे थे T20 का, which is scoring 250 plus in almost every match they played, Pakistan's like नहीं, हम एक ऐसा मैच दिखाएंगे जहाँ पे 120 भी बनाना मुश्किल है, and I will let the other team chase it down in what, like 10 overs or 15 overs or something. We all know the strengths of India. We'll begin with that first. We come into this tournament, and not to sound too negative, with a squad that only has about 2 or 3 players that are actually would be considered informed players. But Surya hasn't had a great match or great IPL. Neither has Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya, and the list can go on and on. And I think that does that scare any one of you both? Does that put any doubts in yourself and say, okay, maybe Australia and England are more favorites than India, even though the media portrays it as India being the favorite?
That's a good point, actually. I'm quite confident about India against Pakistan. Rohit Sharma is not a threat to me, at least because I know how well he plays for India. IPL में वो उनके रिकॉर्ड्स कभी भी अच्छे नहीं रहे अगर आप हिस्ट्री में देखें तो, बट इंडिया के लिए he has very good. विराट कोहली is in form and against Pakistan his records are like insane. और बाकी हार्दिक पांड्या भी कल रिपोर्ट आई थी कि वो बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत कर रहे हैं. लाइक 1 घंटा उन्होंने नेट प्रैक्टिस की थी बॉलिंग में और 40 मिनट बैटिंग में. सो लाइक आप समझ रहे हो कि कितना ज़्यादा डेडिकेटेड हैं वो इस समय. उनकी मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ भी इससे जज कर सकते हो आप. और बाकी बुमराह भी बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं, तो बॉलिंग डिपार्टमेंट भी वो हैंडल कर ले रहे हैं. बस थोड़ा सा कंसर्न हमारे लिए जो है वो है सिराज का फॉर्म और अर्शदीप का फॉर्म. विकेट्स के बीच में रहते हैं वो लोग, बट they have been going for runs. So बहुत ज़्यादा concern नहीं है, but I think against Pakistan we are on top.
So I would agree कि Rohit is not a concern, but मैं एक चीज एड्रेस करना चाहूंगा यार कि always there's this buzz around कि विराट कोहली को टीम में होना चाहिए कि नहीं होना चाहिए। वो 4 महीने पहले से ही एक पीआर चल जाता है कि he should be out of the World Cup, and जब वर्ल्ड कप आता है तो suddenly he becomes the main player, the most informed player that we have by far. So that is the level of player we talk about, and again I think विराट कोहली इस टीम से हटा दो, we are not even competing for top 4. So आई होप अगेन कब तक चलेगा आई डोंट नो, आई डोंट वांट दिस टू हैपन, बट अभी के लिए तो आई टेक इट, विराट कोहली अगेन प्लेयर ऑफ द टूर्नामेंट अगर बन जाए, हम कुछ कर पाए। बट टू बी ऑनेस्ट वेरी एक्साइटेड फॉर इंडिया वर्सेस पाकिस्तान इन यूएस, बिकॉज यूएस में सो मेनी पीपल फ्रॉम इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान लिव इन हार्मनी, एंड टू सी देम प्ले in that kind of atmosphere would be really mouth watering for all of us, and I hope it turns out to be a very nail biting encounter. I know Pakistan is not in the best form, but you never know, they do turn up in big games against India. So I mean, turn up as in they play well, but obviously they don't win, but ठीक है, मतलब आई जस्ट वांट इट टू बी अ थ्रिलर सो दैट एक यूएस में द होल एजेंडा ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड कप अकॉर्डिंग टू मी is make the sport more global, and according to me it's a step in the right direction, because if you compare cricket with football or any other global sport for that matter, the thing is that what differentiates is कि हर साल फुटबॉल में अगर आप देखो there is always a new winner of the world cup, that is because more teams play. So cricket में ऐसा नहीं था यार, 8-10 टीमें ही खेलती थी जिनमें से 3-4 टीमें ही हमेशा सेमीफाइनल पहुंचती थी। फर्स्ट टाइम वी आर हैविंग 20 डिफरेंट टीम्स, ऐसी टीम्स हैं जिनका हमने नाम भी नहीं सुना, युगांडा, यूएसए, पपुआ न्यू गिनी। So I think as an overall, this is a great World Cup. This could be a historic World Cup. And India versus Pakistan, what a start it will be at the US.
Yeah, exactly. I think when we speak about that India-Pakistan match, that is the biggest game you can ask for on foreign soil. The fact that both teams have no clue about the conditions. They walk into a 35, 40,000 seater stadium and suddenly the pressure's on. The world's eyes are on you. It's the greatest platform to display what you're capable of. And I think for a lot of fans, you rate the India-Pakistan game as important as a final. It's very close to that, irrespective of what the form is, irrespective of everything. You walk into that and suddenly your thoughts are, okay, this is a must-win game, and that'll be the biggest difference between India and Pakistan. Whoever wins that game will decide which pool you get in the Super 8, whether you want the easier one qualifying in first place, or do you want to get the harder one qualifying in second place. That's a bit of a challenge for both the teams. Moving on to Pakistan, which I think they're going through this stage of misery, which they do right before the World Cup. We saw it in the 2023 World Cup, where they played, I think, played England series against England in the ODIs, and they got thrashed all around. I think 3-0, that was the whole series. And suddenly now you've got Ireland winning against Pakistan in their matches, and then England destroying Pakistan as well. New Zealand has just beaten Pakistan at their own home. So nothing seems to be going right. Mohammad Amir is back. Their pace attack is incredible with Shaheen and Haris Rauf and Hassan Ali. They come there as well. They're making it. I think we all know that they're making it past the first stage and getting into the round of eights. But do we think they're going to be convincing enough to show us that they've got what it takes to make it further down the tournament or not?
See, Pakistan for me is a very surprising team. Last time in 2023, they lost against Zimbabwe. And in 2022, you know what they did with India, winning the game by 10 wickets. So you cannot, rule them out completely. And you cannot say that, yes, they are the favorites. I'm expecting Ireland to give them a, good challenge, because USA is a very new pitch, very new ground. So that can help any team. So I would say Pakistan and India are the favorites to win to qualify from this group. But let's say what if Ireland comes up and starts defeating India and Pakistan? Not India, but yes, definitely Pakistan, they have a chance against.
Yeah. And they've done it already, right? In 2007 50-over World Cup, they eliminated Pakistan, Ireland. So that history is also, on this side. But one question I had, US is in this World Cup, so in India's group. So is Unmukh Chand the captain of US, or?
No, I think he didn't get selected, which was the funniest thing, because उसने इतनी मेहनत करी है and no disrespect to him, but उसने इतनी मेहनत करी है वहां पे जाके visa and all of that sort of thing, practice with the team, get into the whole cricket thing, and suddenly जब वो 15 squad member announce हुई US की, उसमें उसका नाम ही नहीं था, and even in the reserves players उसमें नाम ही नहीं था. It was just the most funniest thing ever. So yeah, he's not playing. He won't be playing against in India as well. But I think we all three of us know that India and Pakistan are the clear winners from this group. As goes with Group B, I think Namibia, Scotland and Oman को तो कोई चांस ही नहीं दिया है इंग्लैंड और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ पैर अप करके. उन्होंने कहा भाई आ जाओ 3 मैचेस खेलो और चले जाओ. ग्रुप ए तो फिर भी इंटरेस्टिंग हो सकता है. पाकिस्तान लूजेस अगेंस्ट आयरलैंड, फिर वो एक रन रेट पे आ सकता है, या depending on how Ireland do against other teams can eventually mean Pakistan get knocked out in the first round. But England and Australia भाई वो तो जाएंगे ही जाएंगे. Is that, I think उनको तो अभी से सीट दे दें या नहीं?
ऑस्ट्रेलिया को तो मैं दे दूंगा, बट इंग्लैंड यार स्कॉटलैंड के खिलाफ अगेन हिस्ट्री सेज कि थोड़ा बहुत मतलब डिफिकल्टी रही है उनको तो. एंड स्कॉटलैंड हैज प्लेड वेल. आई थिंक अभी कौन सा वर्ल्ड कप था, 50 ओवर वर्ल्ड कप में दे वर प्लेइंग वेरी वेल. सो अगेन वेरी लेस चांस, मे बी 5% से भी कम चांस है, बट आई विल नॉट रूल स्कॉटलैंड कंप्लीटली आउट. बट हाँ मतलब एज यू से लाइक ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड इंग्लैंड शुड बी थ्रू इन दिस.
Yeah, I agreed. And Shivam, what about you?
इंग्लैंड मेरे लिए तो वर्ल्ड कप टाइटल के लिए फेवरेट्स हैं बिकॉज दे हैव ऑल ऑफ देयर प्लेयर्स इन रेड हॉट फॉर्म. आप आईपीएल में देखो बटलर कितने फॉर्म में था, विल जैक्स भी लेटली फॉर्म में आ गया, और फिर जोफ्रा आर्चर वापस आ गए उनके टीम में. सो एडेड एडवांटेज. सो उनकी टीम थोड़ी बैलेंस्ड लग रही है मुझे इस समय. ऑस्ट्रेलिया, yes they have a very good history, but मुझे लग रहा है कि उन लोगों ने थोड़ा रिस्क कम लिया है and they have gone with their oldies this time. So experience है उनके पास, but they don't have that such player who has a super hitting power, so that
Bro,
can backfire.
I am getting
Flash.
deja vu here in the same podcast. I think in the World Cup, 50 or World Cup, I was like, England are the favorites. All the players are in red hot form, and what they end up obviously यहाँ पे इंडिया की स्पिनिंग कंडीशंस थी. I didn't account for that, but भाई मतलब इंग्लैंड पे बेट करने से पहले थोड़ा सा मतलब
I
एक
think
जिगरा होना
Suresh,
चाहिए.
if I remember correctly, we both were sat about 6 months ago before the World Cup started, and we looked at Australia's squad together, and we said काफी experienced squad है, but इनके में missing क्या है? Spinner. एक mainstream spinner नहीं है. ग्लेन मैक्सवेल को आप कितना करा सकते हो, और इंडिया में ये successful नहीं रहेगा. And then we continued this discussion until their second or third loss, was it? When they lost 3 games in a row, bottom of the table थे, and we're like ठीक है ऑस्ट्रेलिया का हो गया. And then suddenly they were like चलो हो गया हंसी मजाक, अब आओ जाओ खेलने. वार्म अप गेम्स हम लोग के 3 खत्म हो गए. Let's now figure it out in the rest of the 7, and take the cup home.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like with every generation, we've all said कि भाई you can never rule out Australia, and that's the case with this team as well. They've got extreme amount of experience, which is what's needed in these tournaments. Yes, maybe they might be missing out the X factor, but someone can come and step it up if they need. Moving on to Group C: West Indies, New Zealand, Afghanistan, Uganda, and Papua New Guinea. That's an interesting one because you've got New Zealand, Afghanistan, and West Indies who've got a lot of experience trying to qualify for the next round. Uganda and Papua New Guinea, I must say, there's not a lot of cricket I've watched where they've been involved, so my predictions will be a bit biased. And I'll to be honest, I'll say West Indies का home conditions है उनके लिए. New Zealand, because again, just like Australia, they've been very consistent. They might not win anything, but they're always there. Last 4 में रहते हैं, final तक पहुंच जाएंगे. बस वो एक last जो step होता है वो नहीं ले पा रहे. And realistically, that can still happen. Even though there are no, I guess, stars in their team, it's a very balanced team with Williamson, Lockie Ferguson. I think Tim Southee is going to be there as well. So you look at the New Zealand team and you say they're a very well balanced and well controlled, and they have the possibility of maybe upsetting a few games or maybe changing the results their way to make the tournament for themselves.
मुझे मुझे ये कहने का मन नहीं कर रहा है, पर मुझे लग रहा है कि न्यूजीलैंड इस बार शायद क्वालिफाई ना कर पाए और अफगानिस्तान और वेस्ट इंडीज कर जाए. बिकॉज अगर आप आईपीएल मैचेस देखें तो उसमें जो न्यूजीलैंड के मेन प्लेयर्स हैं, दे हैव बीन ऑन एंड ऑफ. सचिन रविंद्र शुरुआत में बहुत अच्छा खेल रहे थे, लास्ट में बेकार हो गए. केन विलियमसन बहुत दिनों से इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट कॉम्पिटिटिव नहीं खेले हैं. फिर लॉकी फर्ग्यूसन है उनके, वो बहुत ही रन्स के बीच में रहे, बहुत पिट रहे थे, ज्यादा विकेट नहीं ले रहे थे. आरसीबी में वो दिख रहा था. सो मुझे उतना कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं दिख रहा है उनमें. बट अगर आप दूसरी तरफ अफगानिस्तान को भी देखो तो दे आर लाइक वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट. राशिद खान उनके कैप्टन है. अगर बाई चांस वहां पे आपको स्पिनिंग पिच मिल गई तो दे हैव वेरी गुड स्पिनर्स. मुजीब है, राशिद है. So and you have Nabi as well, I think. Yeah. So गुरबाज भी अभी आप देख रहे हो कॉम्पिटिटिव क्रिकेट खेल के आ रहे हैं, फाइनल खेल के आ रहे हैं. तो उनके पास वो स्पिरिट है, वो लड़ने का जज्बा है, तो मुझे लग रहा है इस बार अफगानिस्तान के पास एक अपर हैंड है न्यूजीलैंड के खिलाफ। वेस्ट इंडीज फर्स्ट श्योर मेरी तरफ से पहुंच रही है, बिकॉज निकोलस पूरन ने अभी लेटली एक बहुत बढ़िया स्टेटमेंट दिया था कि अगर मुझे ओपनिंग मिल जाए तो मैं क्रिस गेल से ज्यादा तेज खेल सकता हूँ, एंड ही हैज बीन प्रूविंग दैट राइट इन रीसेंट डेज। सो आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग वेस्ट इंडीज टू क्वालिफाई
भाई
गिवन
कल
दैट
ही था, कल ही था
इट्स
शायद
देयर
जब
होम
उन्होंने
ग्राउंड।
257 बनाया था। वाज इट 257 that they made
एग्जैक्टली,
against
यप
in
यप।
the warm up matches? And I know warm up में थोड़ा you take it lightly, but the way they're playing, they could be the surprising team as well. And I know पहले round में maybe viewers might find it hard to watch every single game, but once the Super 8 starts and all of the teams are in form, it'll come down to just, I guess, the match itself, which is the beautiful part about T20 is कि भाई जितना भी form हो वो, when you step on that pitch, what matters is what happens then and there. And that, I guess, you don't necessarily experience that a lot too much in especially in test matches, but in ODIs as well, where there's a lot of strategy involved. इसमें भी strategy होती है, but at the same time, it's thinking on your feet and realizing what the situation requires of you. And whichever team can do that, I think, is going to go furthest in this tournament. In my opinion, because I think I know I might be saying the most what's it called, the most basic, the most obvious fact here, but I think it's highly likely that West Indies do make it quite far as well in this tournament.
यार ये बहुत मेरे हिसाब से आई थिंक शिवम तो हैज ऑलरेडी गिवन टू बोल्ड प्रेडिक्शंस एब्सोल्युटली, मतलब इन लाइक एकदम पॉडकास्ट को उड़ा देने वाले प्रेडिक्शन दे दिए हैं कि एक तो
शिवम
न्यूजीलैंड
शिवम
बाहर
कह
हो
रहा है कि
जाए
भाई मुझे क्लिप्स निकलवानी है। शिवम कह रहा पॉडकास्ट नहीं, मुझे क्लिप्स
और एक
निकलवानी है।
लाइक हाँ मतलब न्यूजीलैंड को ना क्वालिफाई होना बहुत मुश्किल है किसी भी आईसीसी टूर्नामेंट में। प्लस यार इस मुझसे अगर आप पूछो ना, इफ आई हैव टू सीड दीज थ्री टीम्स, आई डोंट नो हाउ टू सीड दीज थ्री टीम्स, बिकॉज तीनों के मैं रीजंस दे सकता हूँ कि कौन तो पहुंच सकते हैं, एंड आई डोंट नो, मतलब मेरे हिसाब से तीनों में से वेस्ट इंडीज है होम एडवांटेज। अगर होम एडवांटेज नहीं होता तो मैं कहता न्यूजीलैंड अफगानिस्तान फॉर श्योर, बट बिकॉज ऑफ द होम एडवांटेज एंड द रेड हॉट फॉर्म ऑफ निकोलस पूरन, आई वुड से वेस्ट इंडीज, आई वुड अग्री विद यू गाइस, लाइक वेस्ट इंडीज श्योरली पहुंचेगी। न्यूजीलैंड अफगानिस्तान में अगेन, Afghanistan, as much as I like them and as much as I know they can, literally hammer the teams on their given day, like 10 wickets से भी हरा सकते हैं। I think New Zealand have that experience. मेरे हिसाब से first team will be like number one will be West Indies, second will be New Zealand, and I'm getting the feeling that Afghanistan will miss out on run rate or something, like run rate से third रह जाएंगे and they'll be out because ये उनकी history रही है यार, they have been so unlucky, like they have played well almost all the tournament, but somehow they find ways to get eliminated. मुझे लग रहा है again this will be another same story and वही होने वाला। So according to me, it should be West Indies and then New Zealand.
Yeah, I think it'll be something like that. Either New Zealand or West Indies coming out on top, and then the second team will be the other one left out. Afghanistan missing out on that one. Group D is another interesting one. As much as Group A and B are very obvious picks for us, Group D with South Africa, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Netherlands. And I say interesting because we've got Netherlands who's got the ODI experience coming in, so they've experienced what it's like playing in a huge tournament. We've got Nepal coming back into international cricket as well. Bangladesh has just lost their series to USA. Yes, we can have a laugh about that in a second. And Sri Lanka and South Africa have I guess more or less been consistent in T20. South Africa on paper उनकी टीम ऐसे लगती है कि भाई how have they not won 5 ODI World Cups and 3 T20 World Cups and Test में number 1 कैसे नहीं है? And when they step on the field, semi-final, finals में जाके they just choke. So let's begin with Bangladesh and let's laugh at how they've just lost again a 3-0 series against USA. Granted, it was in the US itself and US had home advantage. What are your thoughts on that? भाई अभी तक शाकिब अल हसन अभी I don't know how he's been. मैंने उस दिन पिक्चर देखी उन लोग की टीम पिक्चर. This is just a bit of a sidetrack, but मैंने टीम पिक्चर देखी है. मैं ऐसे ही देख रहा था ना, just noticed on the left hand side Shakib's just sitting there and I was like ये बंदा अभी तक खेल रहा है. I think जब मैंने शुरू में क्रिकेट देखना शुरू किया था 2011 में, he was named the Bangladesh captain and to this day this guy plays all 3 formats for Bangladesh, which is incredible. I mean the guy is still there for his nation, but when is it time for him to step aside and realize okay I need to give someone else a chance here?
And very consistent as well. Like बहुत अच्छा
Yeah.
खेल रहे हैं वो, ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ खेल रहे हैं बने हुए हैं, तो बहुत अच्छा खेल रहे हैं. Like the entire Bangladesh team is made around him. So अगर आप लास्ट 3 मैचेस की जो बात कर रहे थे बांग्लादेश यूएसए की, अगर आपने उस दिन से देखा हो तो उसमें यूएसए का एक बंदा था कोरी एंडरसन जो पहले न्यूजीलैंड का था, वो वन साइडेड मैच जिता रहे थे यूएसए को, तो उसमें उनका बहुत बड़ा योगदान था. तो मैं ये नहीं कह सकता कि बांग्लादेश पूरी यूएसए से हारी है, वो बंदा था जो पूरी टीम को हारा था. तो बांग्लादेश डेफिनेटली हैव अ होप बिकॉज बहुत बड़े बड़े उन्होंने ब्लाइंडर्स किए हैं हिस्ट्री में. सो आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग इन 5 टीमों में से एनी 2 कैन क्वालिफाई. नेपाल आई वुड से नो, बट रेस्ट 4 एनीवन कैन क्वालिफाई. साउथ अफ्रीका बहुत हिस्ट्री है उनकी, चोकर कहलाते हैं, कभी भी हार सकते हैं, किसी से भी हार सकते हैं। नीदरलैंड से हार गए थे T20 2023 वर्ल्ड कप में। श्रीलंका रिसेंटली वो लोग बहुत ही डाउन रहे हैं, बट दे हैव high motivation to come back hard. And then Netherlands, they also have a very good experienced team now. So I am expecting anyone can qualify from this, but I'll go with South Africa and Sri Lanka.
ये ऐसा ग्रुप लग रहा है जैसे नेट रनर पर डिपेंडेंट होगा, क्योंकि कोई ऐसे ही होगा कि एक टीम एक से जीती, फिर दूसरी टीम उससे जीत गई, ये वो ऐसे करके फिर वो रन रेट पे ही जाएगा मेरे ख्याल से। बट आई थिंक साउथ अफ्रीका एंड श्रीलंका आर द टू नेम्स फॉर मी इन दिस ग्रुप एज वेल।
For me, it's South Africa and Netherlands.
ओह,
Because मुझे
कि शिवम
again
की
मुझे ऐसा
प्रेडिक्शंस वहां तक पहुंच गई शायद।
नहीं यार, एक्चुअली आई हैव सीन, आई थिंक लगातार 2 वर्ल्ड कप में साउथ अफ्रीका को हरा दिया नीदरलैंड ने, सो दे नो हाउ टू डिफीट साउथ अफ्रीका, एंड इफ दे डिफीट साउथ अफ्रीका, इट्स नॉट साउथ अफ्रीका विल सफर बिकॉज दे विल विन रेस्ट ऑफ देयर गेम्स. सो according to me, the team that will suffer is Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. As you said, like again, जो शिवम ने बोला कि 2 मैच कोरे एंडरसन ने जिता है, तो तीसरा मैच अगर आप देखो तो वो मुस्तफिजुर रहमान ने जिता है, तो बांग्लादेश में भी कुछ है नहीं अकॉर्डिंग टू मी. सो दे लूज टू श्रीलंका. मतलब इट्स अ डिस्ट्रक्टिव काइंड ऑफ ग्रुप. सब एक दूसरे को हरा के बाहर कर लेंगे एंड नेदरलैंड विल कम आउट ऑन द टॉप एंड सॉरी, South Africa will come out on the top and Netherlands will qualify on 100. That is my bold prediction, but I think
South African players are in red. इनको देखो, आप ट्रिस्टन स्टब्स को देखो, ये सब पावर हिटिंग पावर हाउस मिल गए हैं उनको. So like मुझे लगता है कि साउथ अफ्रीका का भी इस बार चांस है काफी आगे जाने का इस टूर्नामेंट.
Yeah, I think agar there is proper reasoning to understand how Netherlands can actually make it through this group, and I'm sure they must have planned this as well, and they must have thought about how they want to approach this and say, okay, bhai, chalo, Nepal is a must-win game, Bangladesh is a game we can win, Sri Lanka ke sath even if we lose, or South Africa ke sath even if we lose, let's lose by a very low margin. Let's capitalize on net run rate on the other game and take it as close as we can in most of the games. But that forms our top 8, and right away we can get into the semi-final predictions, and this is where it gets really hard because now you have India, Pakistan, England, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand, Afghanistan for some, and Sri Lanka and Netherlands as well. So picking 4 very quickly. We'll do this, and we'll start with Suyash. We'll put him on the spot, and he started to make bold predictions. So let's start with him. Suyash, jaldi se 4 teams in the semi-final.
यार you know कि इस लेवल पे आके मैं बहुत सेफ खेल जाता हूँ, तो अगेन आई विल प्ले वेरी सेफ दिस टाइम अगेन. तो मेरे हिसाब से इंडिया, साउथ अफ्रीका, नहीं नहीं, इंडिया, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, इंग्लैंड एंड साउथ अफ्रीका.
That's
आई विल
yeah.
प्ले
I
वेरी
think
सेफ.
yeah, very very good 4 picks. And Shivam, what about you?
I'll go with India, England, South Africa, and West Indies.
That's another
भाई
One out
double
of
big
West
one.
Indies.
शांत करा दिया पैट कमिंस को भाई तुमने.
वही मैं कहने जा रहा
One
था.
out
मैंने
of one out of West Indies and Australia will qualify, and I'll go with West Indies just because of the power they have.
Yeah, I mean, मेरे लिए looking at India's record, it's very easy to say कि IPL के बाद they don't perform well in the T20 World Cup and they'll be knocked out. But I'll say India, Australia, England, and West Indies. These are my team. I say that again. England is in great form. Australia, I'm not ruling them out until they're in the final and they're against India. And India, I'm just saying because they've got superstars and they've got players who can perform. And if they perform, then India's better koi hai nahi. West Indies, again, home advantage, the firepower they have and the T20 history they have. No one can doubt them. Anyways,
तो ये जो ग्रुप 8 लाइक राउंड ऑफ 8 है, इसके मैचेस वेस्ट इंडीज में होंगे कि यूएस में होंगे?
I think most of them are in West Indies, or if all of them are in West Indies,
So
they've
I'll
planned it
change
in
my
a way where
prediction from like I want to change one thing. I'll remove South Africa and put in West Indies.
Inshallah. So West Indies is a sure done from all 3 of us, and India
And
and West
India.
Indies are the 2. Yeah, India and West Indies are the 2 that are the sure ones from us. But yeah, I mean, I think all of us have certainly played it safe going with the strong teams, but that's what happens in these tournaments, right? First, में थोड़े बहुत blunders होते हैं, unexpected results होते हैं, and suddenly as the tournament progresses, the stronger teams prevail, and eventually you have a deserving champion each time around. We won't predict who will make it to the final. We'll just straight up go and say कि भाई कौन जीतेगा. And I'll make it more interesting by saying that you can only pick from the 4 teams you've picked to qualify in the or the 8 teams that you've picked to qualify in the semi-final. So let's start with Shivam this time around.
So my picks for the final are India and South Africa because they both are in red hot form. बहुत अच्छा उनको क्रिकेट मिला है लास्ट 2 months में, and they have been playing really good. So उनको वो टच है, वो फील है अभी बॉल की, बैट की. और वहाँ पे इंडिया का तो मैं प्रिटी श्योर हूँ कि उनके बेसिस कवर्ड हैं. Just one thing that I want to point out in India is that wicket keeping slot. ऋषभ पंत को खिलाओगे आप या फिर संजू सैमसन को खिलाओगे, बिकॉज ऋषभ पंत हैज नॉट बीन प्लेइंग कॉम्पिटिटिव क्रिकेट, इंटरनेशनल कॉम्पिटिटिव क्रिकेट, एंड संजू सैमसन इज समवन हु इज नॉट वेरी एक्सपीरियंस्ड एट वर्ल्ड कप लेवल, सो दैट इज अ पॉइंट ऑफ कंसर्न. दैट इज द ओनली स्पॉट इन इंडिया वेयर आई एम कंसर्न. साउथ अफ्रीका बहुत अच्छा है, उनका डेथ बॉलिंग, रबाडा, नॉर्ख्या, ये सब कवर कर लेते हैं. फिर उनका जो डेथ बैटिंग है वो क्लासन, स्टब्स, ये सब कर लेते हैं. ओपनिंग में क्विंटन डिकॉक फिर से फॉर्म में आ चुके हैं. सो आई थिंक दे आर वेरी गुड टू क्वालिफाई फॉर द फाइनल्स.
Who will win?
डेफिनेटली इंडिया विल विन.
मैं भी वेट करता, मैंने कहा हो सकता है शायद साउथ अफ्रीका.
नहीं.
No, I think yeah, you're right. I've maybe ruled out South Africa too quick. You know, Shivam has this power of like convincing the viewer or as a list like the other host. He's got this ability to convince me कि नहीं भाई South Africa आएगा. Suddenly I'm like यार मैंने South Africa को तो top 4 में ही रखा है. And he's giving me like 3 good reasons to say that they deserve the final. So yeah, I think not a bad prediction. I can see it happening if it all goes well. So Yash, are you gonna agree with that, or are you gonna go and give us another bold one today?
नहीं यार, मतलब साउथ अफ्रीका तो नहीं वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल, मुझे नहीं लगता पहुंच सकती है, चाहे जो कर ले वो नहीं हो पाएगा उनसे. चोकर तो चोकर ही होते हैं, आरसीबी भी चोकर है, वो भी चोकर है, एबी डिविलियर्स कॉमन है दोनों में. एनीवेज, तो मुझे लगता है कि इट विल बी इंग्लैंड एंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया फाइनल, एंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया विल विन इट.
Another good one, and I see that happening as well. Mera Australia was there. The other team was India. I was gonna say India on Australia, और इसके आगे मैं नहीं बोल सकता. Because heart says India, and mind says strategically it'll be Australia. तो very hard to say कि who will actually take the cup. और अगर ऑस्ट्रेलिया लेके चली गई तो मैं क्रिकेट छोड़ रहा हूँ. ये पॉडकास्ट मैं हटा रहा हूँ, और इसके बाद से आपको कोई एपिसोड मिलेंगे नहीं, क्योंकि इसके बाद मैं नहीं सह सकता. और अब हो गया जो होना था. बस आईपीएल रिकॉर्ड करेंगे ताकि इंडिया में ट्रॉफी रहे. वो भी पैट कमिंस लेते लेते चला गया था ऑलमोस्ट. वो तो गंभीर था जिसने कहा नहीं भाई रख लो यहीं पे. तो थोड़ी बहुत बच गई
हाँ भाई,
इज्जत,
गंभीर आ
वरना
रहा है, डोंट वरी, वर्ल्ड कप के बाद गंभीर आ रहा है, you'll get another lifeline to continue your podcast.
देखते हैं भाई. किसी टीम से हार जाए, पर ऑस्ट्रेलिया से नहीं हारना. हो गया बस ऑस्ट्रेलिया भाई. आज भी स्क्रॉल करो क्रिकेट, मतलब मेरी फीड में क्रिकेट आता है, मैं एक पोस्ट लाइक कर दूं एंड सडनली सारी रील्स कहाँ से आ रही, 19 नवंबर 19 नवंबर. मैं कहता हूँ भाई और भी क्रिकेट मोमेंट्स हैं यार. मुझे कोहली की 82 दिखा दो, मुझे रोहित शर्मा की 200 दिखा दो. जरूरी थोड़ी वही दिखाना है मुझे बार बार कि भाई देखो भाई कोहली ने चॉप ऑन कर दिया, पैट कमिंस लिफ्ट कर रहा
Yeah.
है.
Just one point for the viewers. Don't start hating me for not choosing India in the final. It's kind of मैं अपनी जिंक्स को हटा रहा हूँ, because मैंने लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप में क्लियरली इंडिया को विनर्स बोल दिया था, बट दैट डिडंट हैपन, सो वी डिडंट विन. तो इसलिए मैंने इस बार, आई डोंट वांट टू जिंक्स माय टीम. एवरीवन नोज हाउ मच आई लव इंडिया, सो डोंट हेट मी फॉर नॉट चूजिंग इंडिया इन द फाइनल्स. इट्स जस्ट आई एम ट्राइंग टू play a bit psychologically here.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, they go. At the end of the day, I know we're going to be biased towards India, but realistically, even if there are moments where we have to pick other teams over India, which I've done as well in the final, there should not be any hate. It's not like we hate India or we won't enjoy India winning. It's just that there's not planning, but like there's some sort of strategic analysis done to understand which team's the strongest, and it doesn't necessarily have to be India each time. If they prove us wrong, we'll be more than happy to celebrate and say, okay, but yeah, we were wrong. But it doesn't mean that we become biased to a point where we knock off Australia, England, West Indies, or any of the strong teams to win this tournament as well, because T20 is very unexpectable, and anything can happen at any time. And I know one big point that will be a huge talking point, and I know why it will be a huge talking point. It's understanding who's going to be the player of the tournament, who's going to be the best batter, the best bowler, and it's the best all-rounder, if you want to add that in as well. We'll go really, really quickly, and we'll quickly just shuffle between player of the tournament, and we'll go one by one, and we'll say the player, and we'll say our reasonings for each of those players. Shivam, your player of the tournament, and why do you think he'll be the player of the tournament?
Without a doubt, it's Virat Kohli. 2014 and then 2016, then 2022. I think तीनों में उसने बहुत अच्छा खेला था, और अभी फिर से वही फॉर्म लेके वापस आ रहा है. So मेरे लिए without a doubt it will be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on this. I think मैं जब ये सवाल पूछ रहा था, in my mind I was like तीनों कोहली बोलने वाले हैं, but so yeah, your answer same.
So हाँ, मतलब मैं चाहता हूँ कोहली, एंड आई नो इट विल बी कोहली, बट अगेन जिंक्स नहीं करना चाहता हूँ, सो आई विल से जॉस बटलर.
So यश पूरे मोड में कि भाई इंडिया को कुछ नहीं दिलवाना.
कुछ करके भाई, कुछ करके, मतलब मेरे को विलन बोल दो, लेकिन इंडिया को वर्ल्ड कप जिता दो, कोहली को मैन ऑफ टूर्नामेंट दिला दो, बस मेरे को नहीं पता।
ये सही चल रहा है। नहीं, आई थिंक विराट कोहली, द गाय इज ब्रिलियंट। जितना भी उसके बारे में बात कर लो, आई फील लाइक एवरी टाइम आई टॉक अबाउट हिम, all of his highlight reels just start playing in my head. The guy is just beyond. There are very few players which you consider beyond the game, and he's one of those. And he's not just, he doesn't just represent India, but he represents cricket on an international stage. So I think that with the form that he's in, with the batting style he's got and the class he's got the perfect opportunity to score runs against the three teams in the Super 20, and then Pakistan, we know his form is amazing against those as well, and he comes up in the big games. I think that's what makes Kohli so different. भाई बाबर आजम के भी 4,000 रन है, कोहली के भी 4,000 रन है T20 वर्ल्ड कप्स में. Babar Azam averages 41, 42, and Kohli is around the same as well. But the reason Kohli is more respected or more talked about is because he steps up on the big stage. He steps up when it matters most. And he's done that against Pakistan. He's done that against Australia, Test matches, T20s, ODIs, everywhere around. So when you speak about Kohli, you have an immense amount of respect for him because of what he's achieved for Indian cricket. I know he's not got a trophy to show for it as a captain, but with the records and each of them having his name on there, he doesn't just play for personal milestones. He plays for the team, and he's shown that time and time again. When people question his strike rate, he makes sure he scores at 195, 200 and shows that he can do that as well. When they question his ability to score hundreds or score 50s, he does that as well. And when he shows his abilities, when people disagree about him being in the T20 World Cup, he comes up and he says, well, here's my orange cap. I've scored another 700 plus season. So it's up to you if you want me or not. And that's the best part about him. I know some people are going to call it hero worshipping, but it's the harsh truth. It's not hero worshipping. Hero worshipping tab hoti hai agar main kehta, Kohli's got 200 runs in this whole IPL season, and I would say he's the guy. He's the guy to.
Yeah, like Thala. Sorry.
I was gonna say the same.
My Dhoni fans, just let it be. Don't come at us. Yes. So best batter. I guess because हम लोग के भाई सबके player of the tournament विराट कोहली थे. Batter तो वही होंगे फिर उसके बाद अगर player of the tournament हम लोग वही select कर रहे हैं. So we're all gonna say best batter will be Virat Kohli. But other than that, if you had to pick someone else who would give good competition to Virat Kohli, who do you think that'll be?
See, my pick would be Glenn Maxwell,
Ooh.
and that's very tough to say. Yeah, he played really bad for RCB, but मुझे पता है कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लिए कैसा खेल. देखिए RCB में जब आप उसको देखते हैं ना, तो फिर क्या होता है कि you start giving added pressure on him. So वो उनके पास ऐसा होता है कि नीचे मेरे पास कोई है नहीं, मैं अगर जाऊंगा हिट करूंगा आउट हो जाऊंगा, तो डबल माइंड्स में रहते हैं. ऑस्ट्रेलिया के साथ वैसा नहीं, उनकी टीम बहुत एक्सपीरियंस्ड है, उनका रोल ही वही है, जाओ आउट हो रहे हो कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन तुम मारो. 2023 वर्ल्ड कप में भी देखा था कि ग्लेन मैक्सवेल कैसे. द अदर थिंग इज बॉलिंग में वो कंसिस्टेंट रहे आरसीबी के लिए. यू गिव हिम 2 ओवर्स, he'll give you 1 or 2 विकेट. सेम थिंग विल हैपन इन दिस वर्ल्ड कप आई फील. सो एक ऑलराउंडर को डेफिनेटली एक बेनिफिट होता है एक प्रॉपर बैट्समैन या प्रॉपर बॉलर के लिए के ऊपर. जब मैन टूर्नामेंट की बात आती है, just the same as Sunil Narine did, excellent with the bat, excellent with the ball. So I am giving a chance to Glenn Maxwell. And जैसा आप लोगों ने कहा, आप लोग ऑस्ट्रेलिया को फाइनल में पहुंचा रहे हो, तो maybe
No,
that
no, I
comes
mean,
out
you're
to be true.
absolutely right. He's one player we disregarded because of his IPL form. And इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ ना कि भाई आरसीबी की टीम की जो पहले की 7 परफॉर्मेंसेस थी, उसको अगर देखा जाए तो ऐसे तो if we were sat here, we would have said Will Jacks is not a good option. Reece Topley as well, Glenn Maxwell as well. And same goes with Mumbai, where you can say Hardik, Rohit, and Surya are not the greatest of picks for this World Cup. Even though I still believe by Rohit is a very wrong pick, and we might be proven wrong on this one, and I can go for days and days on why I think that. It's one of those things where he can show up in an Australian shirt, and he's done it many a times. He's been there for Australia, and he'll always be there. So you can never rule him out as well. So Yash, your second runner-up pick, I guess, for the player of the tournament, the best batter or the best bowler.
So best batter according to me to, so मैंने तो पहला तो मेरा जॉस बटलर ही था. दूसरा would be Surya according. I'm not sure why we are downplaying Surya. He is number 1 T20 batter right now. International में somehow he always turns up. IPL में, I mean he started with IPL, but अभी आप देखो international में he is much better than IPL. तो मुझे तो लगता है सूर्या could be a good shot. वही है कि उसकी बैटिंग आनी चाहिए. ऐसा ना हो कि रोहित और कोहली मतलब 150 के स्ट्राइक रेट पे 1 डाउन पे 180 पे रोक दे मैच को. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. अगेन सेम गाय हु इज अ कोहली फैन, बट सेम गाय हु सेज कि उसका स्ट्राइक रेट थोड़ा सा कम रहता है. आई वांट सूर्या टू गेट इनफ बैटिंग. वो मैनेजमेंट पे है टू हाउ वी मेक दैट हैपन. बट मेरे हिसाब से सूर्या इज अ for batsmen, Surya should be good, and for bowling, I think it should be Jasprit Bumrah for sure.
That leads to a very good question. हम लोग इंडिया की बैटिंग ऑर्डर की बात कर रहे थे. काफी एक्सपर्ट्स ने भी अपनी ओपिनियन दी है कि विराट कोहली को ओपनिंग करनी चाहिए. आई वुड से मे बी. व्हाट आर योर ओपिनियंस ऑन दैट?
आई एग्री. आई थिंक मैं श्रेयस के साथ बैठ के यहाँ पे बहुत बार मैंने कहा था कि T20s में विराट कोहली शुड ओपन, एंड द रीजन इज उसकी स्ट्राइक रेट जनरली जो उसके बाद आते हैं हिटर्स जो है, पंत हो गया, सूर्या हो गया, उससे काफी लो है. नॉट सेइंग दैट इज लो फॉर T20 बट लोअर देन द वंस दैट कम आफ्टर हिम. तो इफ वी कैन हैव विराट कोहली ओपन, प्ले द स्ट्राइक रेट दैट ही यूजुअली प्लेज अबाउट 150 140 स्ट्राइक रेट, एंड गिव हिमसेल्फ दैट टाइम टू expand, because उसकी अगर आप स्ट्राइक रेट देखो इनिशियल ओवर्स में फॉर आरसीबी, इट्स अ लॉट स्लोअर देन व्हाट इट इज टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ द इनिंग और टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ द टीम इनिंग. तो व्हेन यू सी दैट यू से कि why not give him more time and go with that instead of bringing him in number 3. Let's say Yashasvi and Rohit have just played 5 or 7 or 10 overs of it out. Then Kohli is not the right option to send in at over number 11 to try and build up an innings. Then your options should be Pant and Surya coming in and Hardik coming in right away, and you skip that number 3 Kohli position. But if he opens, then you give him that chance, and then you say कि भाई चलो एक दो over he's gonna build, but towards the end of the innings, if he's still there, he'll get us that big score of 200 plus, in my opinion, because I've seen that happen with RCB.
But the question is not only pushing him up the order. Who will go down then? Will you throw out Rohit Sharma or will you push out Jaiswal?
I think because
I
of
will put
lack of experience, start with just Yashasvi, but then see how Rohit does.
मेरे हिसाब से तो यार जायसवाल और कोहली को ओपन करना चाहिए. रोहित शर्मा 4 डाउन या 5 डाउन भी अच्छी बैटिंग करता है. एंड नीचे तुम देखो अगर तो ऋषभ पंत यार, आप मुझे नहीं पता यार, अगेन दैट्स अनदर क्वेश्चन एंड वी कैन हैव अ डिफरेंट पॉडकास्ट ऑन एनालाइजिंग हाउ इंडिया विल लाइन अप. बट मुझे लगता है यार आई विल प्रेफर सैमसन ओवर ऋषभ पंत फॉर बिकॉज ऋषभ पंत आई डोंट नो हाउ ही विल डू इन T20. I've never been a big fan of Rishabh Pant in T20s. I would have in fact preferred maybe KL Rahul over Rishabh Pant to be honest. But like I don't know. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि लोअर ऑर्डर में अगेन हार्दिक पांड्या भी हर मैच में तो यार तेज खेलता है. वुड कुड बी अकॉर्डिंग टू मी. खेला है टू एंड हिज करियर विद द वर्ल्ड कप एट नंबर 6.
मेरा ओपिनियन इसमें थोड़ा सा अलग है. हमेशा इंडिया जो है ना वो लेफ्ट राइट कॉम्बिनेशन को फॉलो करने की कोशिश करती है, बट कभी वो काम आता नहीं है. तो मैं तो कहूँगा विराट कोहली को रोहित शर्मा के साथ ओपनिंग भेज देनी है. रोहित शर्मा बहुत एक्सप्लोसिव है, 2023 वर्ल्ड कप में भी हम लोगों ने देखा है. तो यू वांट योर बेस्ट प्लेयर्स टू यूटिलाइज द पावर प्ले, एंड देन आपके पास एक ऑप्शन भी हो जाता है नीचे खेलने के लिए. लाइक आप सिंह को भी खिला सकते हो, आप पंत को भी खिला सकते हो, आप स्काई को भी खिला सकते हो. तो यशस्वी जायसवाल एक ऐसी पोजीशन है, इफ ही इज नॉट इन अ गुड टच, सो आई विल गो विद रोहित एंड विराट.
I'll begin with.
आप खिलाओगे नहीं क्या जायसवाल को?
नहीं.
मतलब throwing him out of the team.
Wow. I mean, I can see why he would do that, but मेरे हिसाब से I guess you would have to sit out Jaiswal, right? He's right on this because you wouldn't have him play on 3 anyway. You'd either have him open or you'd have him warm in the bench up, for me. And for me, I would sit out Yashasvi Jaiswal only because he doesn't have the experience Rohit Sharma does, and even though Rohit Sharma is not in great form, he can show up and do what he does best. But at the same time, it brings this question where if Rohit come game 3 or 4 against a weaker team still shows no progression in his form, how do you take him out of the team? Because he's the captain. You can't take him out of the team, can you?
No, I don't think रोहित को आपको हटाना चाहिए. सही बात है.
But अगर
Rohit is
वो
someone who will never, he'll never waste balls. He'll come, he'll hit. If he can't, he'll get out. So that is what you want in T20. क्योंकि अगर किसी दिन चल गया तो हो सकता है वो 50 में 100 बना के दे दे, और जिस दिन नहीं चला, let's say 5 balls 4 runs, ऐसा कुछ कम balls खेल के चला जाए. So he's not someone like he'd waste balls or something like that. So I would keep him in the team.
One thing I wanted to bring in, I think it's the right time. So we talk a lot about Sastry and Kohli. What about Rohit and Dravid? Because this will be Dravid's last dance as an Indian coach. So how do you rate his tenure for India? जो करने के लिए वो आया था वो तो कर नहीं पाया. ट्रॉफी तो नहीं जिता पाया बहुत बड़ी कोई. But overall, what do you see? Like, do you still think that if India wins this World Cup, which is again a mammoth task, but if they win it, do you think his tenure was a success, or do you think irrespective of whether we win this or not, it's a success, or do you think irrespective of win it's or not, it's a failure?
Just because I'm a fan of Virat Kohli, I don't want to go harsh on Rahul Dravid because 2023 World Cup में भी वो final तक ले गए थे and he was quite dominant. The entire Indian team was quite dominant. रवि शास्त्री के जमाने में भी हम लोग डोमिनेंट थे, फाइनल्स हारे, सेमीफाइनल्स हारे, वी कैन डिबेट ऑन दैट, बट अगेन राहुल द्रविड़ हैज डन हिज वर्क. 2024 वर्ल्ड कप में भी हम लोग के पास चांस है, जस्ट बिकॉज ही हैज ट्रस्टेड यंगस्टर्स. वी हैव यंगस्टर्स इन आवर टीम. यशस्वी जायसवाल को वर्ल्ड कप में जगह मिली है, सैमसन को वर्ल्ड कप में जगह मिली है, जो काफी टाइम से लड़ रहे हैं अपनी स्पॉट के लिए. सो यस, हिज टेन्योर हैज बीन गुड. And when you say that it's his last dance, why not Rohit Sharma? Because 2024 World Cup, 2026, I don't think he'll be there as a T20 captain because Hardik Pandya is ready. Hardik Pandya is knocking the door. He is saying, give me the captaincy. So,
नहीं भाई.
yeah, no one wants him to become the
I
captain,
mean,
but yes, that's the
the
sad
fact that
reality.
he had to
Yeah.
stay back and travel with Kohli for the World Cup instead of the whole team, even though Mumbai got knocked out right away, and I think Rohit and Sky and Bumrah were traveling all together, shows that there's a lot of animosity in the team right now between
Correct.
the players, and then the ego clashes that are happening. But just to give my thoughts on that, they were emotionally, that Virat and Shastri era was brilliant to see. Those Test match wins, those tournaments, we got so close. Yes, the 2021 T20 World Cup, although the one that we got thrashed out in the group stages itself was a bit of a bizarre one for me. Very unexpected from India, but if you look at that, throughout that, Kohli's performed well. He's done his part as a captain. He's tried his best as well. And with Rahul, it's a bit of a mixed feeling. And because इतनी opportunities मिली है tournaments जीतने की, 2022 World Cup was, I think, the first one that he got, and then the World Test Championship, and then the home World Cup, and now this World Cup as well. So he's got 4 or 5 good opportunities for himself to prove that this is an Indian team he can take forward. And I think that's why BCCI is not waiting till the end of the T20 World Cup to decide if they want to stay with Rahul or not. They've made their plans clear कि भाई, what the initial plan was कि भाई, in the next 3 years we've got 5 tournaments. If we can win 3 or 4 of them and we can dominate them, we'll say you can continue. But realistically speaking, we've not seen that. Same goes with Shastri's era as well, where yes, we made it to the semi-finals, yes, we made it to the finals, but what matters is winning the last step. India has struggled with that, and that has been the case with different captains. That has been the case with different coaches throughout the years. 2013 Champions Trophy के बाद हम लोग कितने finals में आए, कितने semi-finals में आए, but उसमें से कितने जीते हैं, ये भी एक सवाल होना चाहिए. कितने dominate किए हैं finals, which just comes down to a very small number of 0 games. New Zealand say we were out of that game in 2019. 2017 में Pakistan thrashed us with their bowling. 2023 में Australia had a clear game plan, and irrespective of how good we started with the ball, they were going to take the game away one way or another. And same goes in 2022 when England won with 10 wickets. So big games में India, as much as IPL experience there and youngsters को, India has failed miserably, and there's no hiding that fact. Under Shastri, under Dravid, under who was the coach before them? I think it was temporary coach कोई थे, Kumble, I think it was came in for a bit of a stint. तो World Test Championships ये आप दोनों ले लो तो ऐसे लग रहे थे games जैसे कोई Australia versus Bangladesh or New Zealand versus कोई weaker side दिख रही थी. तो I don't know what it is. Is it the mentality of the players that's causing this? Is it the coaches not being able to figure out a way to give motivation to the players to say कि भाई ये अब आपको जीतना है, इसके बाद कुछ नहीं है, is it the hunger that's gone missing within the team? That's why they need a very young contingent to say कि भाई, these guys are going to be hungry for a win.
Out of 10, how much would you rate Dravid's tenure?
Yeah, I think successful to raha in the sense of winning a few series, performing well, dominating a few tournaments as well. So I'll say 6 to दूंगा मैं, at least 6 या 7 to दे सकता हूँ. Those
What
three.
about, yeah, completed.
No, those 3 last points would be based off of if they would have won at least a few tournaments, and I think BCCI has made that very clear. That's why they're not keeping him as a coach ahead of the 2020 after the 2024 World Cup.
For you, Shivam,
I
out
would
of
give him
10,
a
just
solid
very quick.
7 because his coaching has been good. It's just that he has not lifted any World Cups or any trophies. Also, he has not maintained that good, environment inside the dressing room. You saw a lot of controversies when he was the coach with Shreyas Iyer, with Ishan Kishan. So that kind of environment is not, appreciated when you want to win cups. That is
So
what
for,
your
yeah,
coach needs to. कौन?
Yeah, I'll quickly give my thoughts as well. I think, according to me, I'll give him a 4 out of 10, simply because I had a lot of expectations from him. I had absolutely adored him. I thought that when he'll come, we'll see a lot of change, but we didn't, right? Like, the captain still has all the power, be it in selection, be it in doing everything. Yes, we did well, but I'll attribute it more to the captain than the coach. Uh, जो एक कोच की वो होती है ना, जो गौतम गंभीर में दिखती है, जो एक रवि शास्त्री में दिखती थी, जो जस्टिन लैंगर में दिखती है, कि एक जो कोच का एक दबदबा होता है, वो नहीं दिखता है मुझे राहुल द्रविड़ में. इट्स जस्ट दैट आई फाइंड हिम कि बहुत लेड बैक बंदा है. एंड इट इज वेरी सरप्राइजिंग गिवन जो वो लाइक बच्चों के साथ, जो अंडर 19 के साथ जिस तरह के रिजल्ट्स वो लेके आ रहा था. आई वाज वेरी होपफुल कि ही विल डू सम, बिकॉज वही वही लोग तो बड़े हो गए, जैसे ऋषभ पंत, वही सब तो बड़े होके इंडिया की टीम में आए. एंड वी वर एक्सपेक्टिंग हिम टू डू मच बेटर. एंड वेयर वी आर, मतलब जहां शास्त्री और कोहली को आपने जो बोल के निकाला था कि हम ट्रॉफी नहीं जीतते, आप अभी भी नहीं जीत रहे हो, तो आप जितना भी डोमिनेट कर लो यार, कोहली भी तो डोमिनेट करता था. तो मतलब अगेन, just repeating all you guys' point, but I would rate him 4 out of 10. And I am again very hopeful with Gautam Gambhir, because as Soleja said, big matches में क्या करते हो? We have Gautam Gambhir who shows mentality in big matches. So without a thought, शाहरुख खान ने blank check या जो भी दिया है मुझे नहीं पता, हमें अपने जय शाह भाई तो blank check के expert हैं. I'm just too excited. More than the World Cup, I'm excited to see Gautam Gambhir after the World Cup. So yeah,
I
that
wouldn't
is
be
it.
surprised, and I think a lot of viewers wouldn't be surprised अगर रोहित शर्मा की कैप्टनसी भी T20 से ले ली जाए after this World Cup.
Yeah,
जीत के बाद
I want
maybe
it
they'll
to
give him a
happen.
few
Yeah, yeah.
more series to continue, but अगर जीते नहीं तो फिर I think the major change that will happen is Hardik Pandya gets the captaincy right away. And what will be very interesting for me, and a topic I want to talk about in the Indian episode when we review the Indian team properly, is how the Indian team carries itself forward with two different captains, because I doubt they'll make Hardik the captain of Test matches and ODIs, and how they'll try and show it in a way where they say कि भाई Kohli was the reason why they didn't want Kohli and Rohit to do it this way, but now they want Hardik and Rohit, or Hardik and whoever does the other captaincy to do it, which will be very interesting to talk about.
Right.
क्योंकि हार्दिक को तो आप नहीं दे सकते टेस्ट मैचेस में realistically.
यार एक चीज मैं देखना चाहता हूँ यार इंडियन टीम में, विच आई वांट टू चेंज, कि कैप्टन के पास बहुत ज्यादा पावर है यार अभी भी. मतलब लाइक कोहली के टाइम पे भी वही था, अभी भी रोहित के टाइम पे भी वही है. ऑल्दो वो पॉलिटिक्स करके कोहली को निकाला था, उस समय उसके पास पावर नहीं थी, बट इन जनरल ही हैड लॉट ऑफ पावर. एंड अभी भी अगर आप प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस देखो अगरकर और रोहित वाली, उसमें अगरकर से क्वेश्चन पूछे, अगरकर गॉट स्टक एंड रोहित हैड टू आंसर कि हम, मतलब पीपल वर आस्किंग कि व्हाई इज रोहित प्लेइंग इवन, बिकॉज 2 साल से तो वो बंदा खेला ही नहीं T20. तो ही इज प्लेइंग बिकॉज ही इज रोहित शर्मा. तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से. अभी it's time to move on, and there were rumors ki I think Rohit and Kohli will probably move on from T20 cricket after this World Cup, which is I think a right thing to do. As much as I am a fan of Rohit and Kohli and all the experienced players, I think it overhaul is very much needed in the interest of the team and in the interest of the long run of the team. So yeah.
आप एक एग्जांपल देखो ना, पैट कमिंस को ही ले लो. He's captained brilliantly the ODI team and the Test team, but T20 का कैप्टन उनका कौन है? It's not Pat Cummins. It's Mitchell Marsh.
Mitchell Marsh.
Uh,
Yeah.
so it just goes to show that Australia are very clear with their approach in these tournaments, where they know how to, even before the tournament starts, play mind game. And as much as Pat has done well throughout his tenure as ODI and Test match captain, they know that Mitchell Marsh is a better T20 captain, and they've said, "Okay, Pat, let him have it this time." And that's how it goes. No player is bigger than the team. No team is bigger than the game, and which is an issue India does struggle with. अगर आप देखो तो India probably has the least amount of captaincy changes, whereas every other team treats a captain as just any other player unless they're in good form. Australia is very much ready to replace their captain if he doesn't do too well. England does the same as well. Stokes was the captain, now Butler is the captain. बीच में और 2-3 tries करे थे उन्होंने with different players, and very, I must say, volatile their positions are in the team. Where in India, you're right in saying, Suyash, that it's very much certain that if you have a big name, if you have a big fan following, you will be favored. I don't know whether that's the PR game, whether that's the influence that social media has on selectors. कि चलो यार, अगर 10,000 लोग कह रहे हैं रोहित is doing well और Kohli is doing well, then उसको तो लेना ही पड़ेगा, ये वो करना पड़ेगा. But it does seem like that, especially in games where you lose, you think यार ये प्लेयर होना चाहिए था, ये नहीं, ये प्लेयर होना चाहिए था, ये नहीं. तो I think India needs to get the emotional side of the game out and say कि भाई, we're going to play this with strategy, not with emotions, and that's what's missing in the Indian team.
Bilkul bhai, and who was the guy who suffered? It was Rinku Singh. I mean, Rinku Singh was the first. I mean, not the first, but at least the top three names in this squad according to me, given his red hot form. And अभी वो मतलब extras मतलब क्या बोलते हैं उसको reserve players में पता नहीं जाएगा भी कि
Yeah.
नहीं US. I don't know, but
I think
visa
he
भी
is
मिलेगा
there.
कि नहीं?
उसने तो उस
Oh,
दिन
is there?
इंटरव्यू में यही तो कहा, उससे पूछा गया, उसने कहा तो भाई आप यूएस क्यों जा रहे हो अगर आपके रिजर्व प्लेयर, क्या लेंगे, जाएंगे कपड़े खरीदेंगे आ जाएंगे हम, अपने को क्या है? And that was the most funniest unobliged answer. He's like, भाई कुछ कर थोड़ी सकते. So yeah, very interesting. We'll discuss this in detail in the Indian team review that we do in a few days. And it's been a great podcast, guys. Great discussions, and we've locked in our predictions. Very much interested to see. What we'll try and do is make a clip of 5 minutes or something and see by the end of this season, react to that clip and laugh our asses off when we realize suddenly Nepal or one of the associate teams has just gone their furthest and semi-final या final तक upset करते हुए चले गए हैं, and we've got a new winner for the T20 World Cup. But obvious teams तो उन्होंने select कर ही लिए. Let's see how the World Cup goes. Hopefully it goes well for India. Hopefully it goes well for everyone watching. Before we end the podcast, thank you Shivam and Suyash for being here today. Great conversation as always. I look forward to having more of those with you guys. For all of you guys watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. The support has been incredible throughout the IPL, and now let's continue that and take it into the World Cup and make it a lot more. So if you watch the podcast, share it with your friends, send it to people you know who are going to be interested in cricket. Or bhai, we're just three fans talking about cricket. We're not experts. We're not someone who's out of reach. Just text any of us on our social media pages linked below, and we'll get you on the podcast. If you think you've got what it takes to talk about cricket, to have good analytics and in a professionalism manner, then you're more than welcome to join us on our talks and discuss cricket on any team as well. Any fan, doesn't have to be an Indian one as well. So yeah, make sure you leave a like rating, make sure you subscribe, make sure you add the podcast to your playlist if you're listening to an audio platform. We'll see you guys next time. Follow all of our social media pages for the latest news on cricket. Stay safe.